Hey, I just came across a bigger group at the waterfront. Looks like a lot of the Wall of Moms folks. I haven't really been getting down here this early, so I don't know if that's what they've been. I feel like were doing this a couple weeks ago, where they were starting down at the waterfront. So this may just be a continuation. I'm not sure. I usually get here around 10. But definitely the Wall of Moms are leading this. They look like they're locking arms and kind of leading the march. And heading over to the Justice Center. Last night was the first night that the feds did not come out and tear gas everybody, and it was a really chill night. And I think this may technically be the first night that the feds are gone. State troopers were playing the role of security at the federal courthouse today. It actually looks like it's being led by Dimitri Hester, which is one of the organizers of Don't Shoot Portland. She was also a victim of an assault by Jeremy Christian. Jeremy Christian's the max stabber that stabbed 3 people, killing 2 a couple of years back. She was a victim of an assault by Jeremy Christian the night before. This will be the first weekend without a significant federal police presence. So we'll see how tonight goes. These are all the moms that the kids, they're the moms with the houses that the kids live in. Wrong group. This is why. So my understanding is that the feds technically have not left. They're supposed to have the special response team leave, which was the team that consisted of ICE, ICE, CBP, Border Patrol, and I forgot the other agency. That team was supposed to be leaving, and then a bunch more Federal Protective Services officers were supposed to be showing up. I think they expanded jurisdiction for the federal officers, but then had a bunch of other ones go home. And then state troopers are filling in to be security at the federal courthouse. So technically they didn't leave, but they're going to be playing a different role. I think last night was a test, and the feds did not come out, and the crowd was really calm. Nothing really popped off. It was a pretty positive event last night. The crowd will probably be way bigger here tonight. So we'll see if things stay the same. There's only been like 2 actual riots over the last 60 days. The police have determined about, I don't know, half a dozen nights to be riots. So even based off of police declaration, there's only been a half a dozen riots in the last 60 days. So saying that riots have been happening every night is ridiculous. There you go, free Bibles here. If you need a Bible, show up. There's been a protest downtown every night. Nothing's really changed. The demands are similar. They want the defunding of the Portland police by 50%. It initially was about 20%, which is 50 million. They want the release of protesters. Feds out. And there's one other demand. No demands have really been met. We could probably debate that the feds are leaving, but I would argue against that. Oh yeah, Ted resigned. They want Ted Wheeler, which is the police commissioner, to resign. Thank you. No, the mayor did not cave. When this first started, they decreased the budget by 15 million, which really is just how much it was increased the year before. So the police budget's where it was at last year. So there really wasn't any kind of worthwhile defunding. They did get rid of the school resource officers, which are cops in the school, and they dissolved the gun violence reduction team. There's like one other change. Yeah, Ted Wheeler's a Democrat. I believe there's only been a couple of significant charges, like felonious charges, or not felonies, but like there was like one arson charge or maybe a couple arson charges. Most of them aren't serious. They're serious in the sense that they're federal charges, but
Who lives matter? Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black
there's local feds. The Federal Protective Services are everywhere in Portland. They're not going to be leaving.
Make some noise!
They're part of the Department of Homeland Security. Department of Homeland Security consists of ICE, FPS, Border Patrol, Secret Service,
This is the power I'm talking about.
Coast
This is
Guard.
the power that I'm talking about. This is the magic that I'm talking about. This connection that we have, this bond that we have is amazing. This is the feeling of change. This is what change looks like.
How many of those 22 were felony charges and how many were misdemeanors?
So, can you feel it out there?
Mine's not
Well, we have to
gonna change
lose
much.
it before we lose it. Portland, we got some cleaning up to do. We almost there. We got some cleaning up to do on all aspects. We got cleaning up in this house to do. We got cleaning up in some of these corporations to do. We got some work to do, but with these numbers, we can do whatever. We all know that Portland was considered a racist state. Well, I asked you yesterday, do y'all want that anymore?
The feds initially weren't here to protect the building. They're here to protect statues.
I can't hear that. So no more racist state.
The feds will always be here to protect the building, but they sent in a rapid response team in addition to who's already here.
Good to me. Well, we're going to keep this moving on because this is what we do. And this is what I'm very, very proud to see. This is a Friday, I think. We've been out here for 60 odd days. And
Yeah, Biden's not going to
starting to feel
change
like
much.
one. So,
I don't think he's going to get
let me make
elected.
some noise before I pass this mic. So in order for us to fully unite, we must make a pact with ourselves. In order for us to fully unite, we must make a pact with ourselves. We are together now, and we don't want to fall apart. So in order to do that, we must make a pact with ourselves. Each and every individual must dive within their self and make a pact to never, ever be divided from the human race again. We must make a pact with ourselves. This is an individual choice. We've made the individual choice to show up here every night for 60-something days. And what brought on this party is the crucial and unusual murder of George Floyd. And how we know about that murder?
That's just 65 days.
Some teenagers.
The very first one was at the ICE building on Wednesday the
After
27th.
school or whatever time that was, to witness this
Biden is a racist.
by the police. Now what we must do
Centrist will
is
ignore
dive
that.
within ourselves and make a pact to never be divided again. Can we make that pact?
65.
Can we
65.
truthfully make and stand on that pact? And then after we truthfully made that pact, we must share that pact with the next human being and bring them to the party. So it can be a new political party. Because the whole political party does not work. The whole political party is founded on kidnapping. The whole political party is founded on treason. The whole political party does not stand for liberty and justice for all. And that ain't only in the court system, and that ain't only in the hospital system, and that ain't only in the juvenile system, and that ain't only in the Department of Education, but that is also in the business system too as well. And we must address this issue on all aspects of humanity.
If Bernie endorses it, just to keep stuff out.
We must make a pact to never be divided again as one race. We are one people under God. And together we stand. Divided we will fall, man. I promise you.
Obviously, I've been down here.
We will fall. We fell before. We fell for the crooked trick before by our forefathers.
Yes, that's true.
And we will not fall for the crooked tricks anymore. The crooked tricks that they pull the hat out the bag, we're not falling for that no more. No more abracadabra. We won't fall for it again. We must stand together as one race under God. And we must hold tight, and we must stand strong, and we must not ever, ever again bow down. We are the people.
Looks like there's about 1,500 people here. Smaller than last weekend, but it's still pretty big.
And we are out here standing against the fight against injustice. And as you witness, not everybody is standing for injustice. And it's crucial when the people that are supposed to be protecting and serving you is proven that they don't stand for justice. They stand for brutality. They stand for bigotry. They stand for gentrification. They stand for abuse on human beings. They stand as if they are animal tamers. They stand as if they got a paddle and they are Catholic teachers. We don't want that abuse. We want equality. And we want equality on all aspects of human life. We want to be able to go inside of a store and not be racially profiled.
I think it goes by Itchy.
We want to be able to spend with that store. And if we continue to spend with that store, we want to hold that store to a standard to where they say, let's have a free day for the people.
He's been out here
Out of all
most
the money
nights.
we spend with them, out of all the money they spend with us, let's have 2 free days a week from these rich ass stores. I mean, it needs to be some type of reparation for your tax money going to them. We need reparation all across the board. My race especially. We need a pandemic back for my race. We have been held under the coronavirus standards for decades. We demand a stimulus pack for my race. That is one of the demands. We got a whole lot of demands. I'm going to name one more. We want the felony to fall off with no exceptions if an inmate has served his time, if an inmate has completed post-prison supervision, if an inmate has falsely been accused.
Just do the right thing.
We don't want that inmate to have to go through appeal after appeal after appeal if they don't have no evidence to hold that inmate. Let that inmate free. My cousin is locked up, and he got way too much time than what the crime carries. Let my cousin free. My homeboy's son is locked up, and he got way too much time than what the crime carries. Let my homeboy's son free. I did a whole school of prison time. I completed my prison time. I completed post-prison supervision. I completed every last drop. Let the fucking felony free. Now let's get back on the business. Let's get back to the business and these rich corporations. And I'm gonna let my boy tell you a little bit of something about it.
I'm gonna head over in front of the federal courthouse.
Make some noise if you understood what he said.
All the moms are getting over to the federal courthouse. All the vets are out here. I was asking a couple of the vets here last night if they knew if there was any representation from Veterans for Peace or About Face. Those are two pretty respected anti-imperial vet groups, and they didn't. A couple of them didn't really know who they were. Yeah.
Defend the people's right to free assembly and free speech, protest safely without fear and intimidation from our government.
It's just an assumption. It could be totally inaccurate, but it seems like a lot of the vets out here are, I don't want to say apolitical. They're not like politically active. I could be totally wrong about that though. That's based off of the couple that I talked to that didn't know who, a couple of the more well-known vet groups are. Their information are all standing at attention. You tell me why you're wearing the Hawaiian shirt.
Oh, it's Casual Friday.
Are you here with the Boogs?
What's it?
Are you here with the Boogs?
Oh, absolutely not.
No.
Is that a thing they do?
Yeah. Do you know about them?
I know who they are. I don't know, like.
You didn't know about the Hawaiian shirt? So what the Boogaloo is. They started playing with words. It started with they call it, instead of Boogaloo, they would start playing with it and call it Big Igloo. And they started using an igloo as a symbol. They started calling it the Big Luau. And then they started rocking Hawaiian shirts like the big luau. That's interesting. You didn't know about it. There's yeah. There's a crew that showed up last weekend that were in general support of what's going on here, and they weren't like the more racist faction of. And we had a conversation with them, and it's like, okay, whatever. But it's like hard to trust some of them because like they're so anti-government and they've been known to kind of disrupt stuff. So it's like, we gotta kind of watch certain people.
Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah. The same thing's been happening with skull masks. So those historically have protests.
That makes perfect sense to me.
And there's been like natives that have been wearing them, and it's just we gotta be like, hey, just let you know, like those skull masks often, and they're like, oh, really? Like most people don't know. So sometimes it's just like, hey, let you know, and they're like, okay, good, like good. Yeah, cool. Thanks for being out here. Guy in press literally was wearing a Hawaiian shirt and had no idea that the Boogaloo Boys wore Hawaiian shirts. That shows like how different this movement is right now, or uprising, or these protests, whatever you want to call it. There's so many people that are new to protest in the sense like they're not people that have a lot of experience, so they don't know a lot of the nuances of different um, groups wearing certain things and the symbology. And often they come in here rocking some of the same stuff, and they have no idea. Sometimes it just takes a little reminder, and people are pretty like grateful because they don't want to be caught off guard and accused of something. Some buttons, the roving anti-Trump bandwagon. Thank you. Well, Mom, so far is pretty small tonight. Um, that could be what was predicted is that um, a lot of the people that have been showing up for the last couple of weeks are just like anti-Trump, and so they tied the federal government or the federal Department of Homeland Security and U.S. Marshals to Trump, and um, I mean there is a direct connection. Like obviously, like Trump is the one in command and giving some type of orders and direction to the Secretary of Homeland Security, Chad Wolf, and then Chad Wolf is the Secretary of the Department. So there's like direct connection, but not saying that there's not a connection. There's like people are some of these more centrist or liberal folks came out here literally because this is symbolic of Trump. And so once the feds leave, then they leave, which is problematic. It's like shows the motive. Um, they're more interested in opposing Trump than standing for Black lives. Um, there's still a good group of moms here. The crowd is in general smaller. It also could just be it's early. Like I'm usually not out here this early, so it could grow. You can see the wall of moms. It's like 50. Last weekend they spanned 2 whole blocks and more, and now they really don't even reach across the whole street block. It's like I don't know, less than half the size. There was also a falling out because they were told to leave multiple nights in a row by people that aren't even activists, and they were listened to because they were Black. And, so they were falling out about that because um, there was a coalition built, and they were just kind of like listening to random people, and they're here to protect and form a wall, and they just bailed and left everybody stranded because one person asked them to. So there's a little bit of a falling out because of that. So some may have left. There's this guy with the free Bibles truck that seems like not trying to throw any blanket judgments against Christians, but often people that are giving out Bibles tend to be more conservative Christians, fundamentalist Christians. And this guy seems like he's here in support. This weekend, we'll see who all shows up. Last weekend, there's a bunch of right wingers that have been showing up in Black Bloc. This isn't an unusual thing. Like the far right will often try to disguise themselves and do fucked up shit. And we're seeing more of that here than usual. I've personally, just me as one person, have spotted at least 5 right wingers in Black Bloc. If you don't know what Black Bloc is, it's a tactic that's used by activists where they dress in all black to create protection to protect their identity from surveillance and things like that. So we're seeing right wingers doing that. We're seeing right wingers showing up in support, which is an interesting dynamic because they're obviously not here because of the problem with race in the country. It's more about being anti-federal government. I think, and it was like in Dallas, I think, there was a riot that was started by the Boogaloo Boys. I think it was Dallas. I could be wrong about that. We're starting to see more libertarian folks that are becoming more sympathetic of left-leaning causes. Although they're still a minority, we're seeing more of that. So there's more nuance when it comes to some of these Boogaloo Boys. But we had a conversation with them last month, and we're just like, it's just like, just don't show up in Hawaiian shirts. Like the Boogaloo movement's just so inundated by far right and white nationalists. Like we don't need, if you're going to associate with a group or a movement like that, we don't really need you here. At least rocking the gear. They weren't really open to it, but it's something that a few of us are concerned about. Anyway, I don't really like live streaming. I tend to point downward because I don't want to get a bunch of people's faces. That's what the cops do. They just are constantly getting people's faces and coming out here with live streaming and photographing people for no particular reason. So I don't need to be doing the work for them. So I think I'm going to jump off. You can pay attention to what I do through the night. I'll just do video clips, keep people updated on what's going on. All right, bye.